All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Pick us up at John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Well, all praises be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I know I told y'all about what my man's hit me up about, and we'll go ahead and put this on tape. So I tell you something too, right? This here, man, with that clubhouse junk. Don't be banking on the replays and all that there, because that's not no guarantee. So always know that just because we own it does not mean that stuff is going to be saved and on tape. Don't bank on that, because you could find yourself disappointed. Because I'm not going to go out my way to make sure that that's recorded. Come over here to and if truth be told, if you're not going to talk, it don't even benefit for you to be on the clubhouse part. To be honest with you, that's what it's there for. You know what I'm saying? If you know you're not going to say nothing, it don't even really matter. But come over here to Exodus chapter 20 and then Exodus 34. Is it Exodus 20? I think it's Exodus 21. Shalom, man. 21 and 12, I believe. I know we were discussing what my man was talking about with the 10 Commandments. He hit me up about it. I still ain't had a chance to look at the video that he wanted me to check out. But that ain't something that I ever invested any thought in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really finna attack it in the fashion that he may be looking at it. We talked about some of that stuff the other day. And I'm saying that's another example of that, because there's no replay of that conversation. I say the clubhouse thing is just only for outsiders who own this particular app, and if y'all plan on talking. If you don't plan on talking, then this ain't really going to serve you no purpose to be on here. Exodus 21 and 12. He that smite a man so that he die, he shall surely be put to death. If a man lie not in wait, but Elohim deliver into his hand, then will I appoint you a place where he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, you shall take him from my altar that he may die. I think we discussed that in regards to what his name is, Judas. But see, let me go ahead and this here, because if I try to combine both of these, I'm going to stretch this out longer than it needs to be stretched. So we're going to come over here to Exodus 34. Some of this stuff going to be a rehashing for those of you who were there. And if not, you get to hear it for the first time if you would. For those of you on YouTube, man, go ahead and hit that like button. Exodus 34 and 1. Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew you 2 tables of stone like unto the first. So like I said, my man's believe that Exodus 34 is the 10. And I could understand towards the end of this chapter how he got confused to see it in that fashion. But he said the hew, so I want to talk to you about hew. That is pasal. You understand? That's to cut the hew into shape, whether wood or stone, or to grade. Pay, samak, and lamad. So you have grabbed hold to the words of the shepherd, is what you have done. But why is this important if we're talking about that this is dealing with something that is engraved? I want you to come over here to Isaiah 49. I'm going to move swift. I ain't got much conversation for you. Isaiah 49. Verse 13, y'all should know what it is if you've been around this corner for a good little season. What's in Isaiah 49 and 13? Isaiah 49 and 13. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth. Break forth into singing, O mountains, for Yahuwah have comforted his people and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, Yahuwah have forsaken me, and my Lord have forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget you. Behold, I have graven you upon the palms of hands, your walls continually before me. So, of course, you know that. Let's take a look at this here now, just on general principle. That's all it's for. Luke 24. This is just on general principle. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to move pretty swift, so bear with me. Now, if you're on Clubhouse and you have a question, just go ahead and hit the thing. Like I said, right? It's for if you go know, you gonna talk. If you know, and that ain't really pertaining to you, Brother Robert. It's pertaining to those who always enrolled. If you know you ain't gonna talk, then I don't even know what you would be on there for unless you're in somewhere you got bad service. Because that's what this is for. Outside of people who not, I can't necessarily say members because technically, scripturally wise, there's no such thing as a member of an assembly. You have an assembly where you gather at and you would be members of Mashiach, but you wouldn't necessarily be like how it's commonly referred. You get it how it's commonly referred, but I'm just want y'all to understand that book-wise. Because I know, of course, I've been told this myself, and I remember the first time this was mentioned to me, I was like, nigga, that's not even a book. That somebody be like, okay, if they baptize you, you're a member of their assembly. That is not book. Just because somebody baptize you does not mean that you are required to fellowship with that group of people. That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know who came up with that concept, but it's not book. You know what I'm saying? You can immerse somebody and they can fellowship wherever they please because you're not immersing them into an assembly. You're immersing them into the body of Mashiach. That's asinine. If that person chooses to fellowship with a group of people, then that's his choice. But he can't be, compelled to do so. You know what I'm saying? Because I was directly told, dude wasn't going to immerse you unless you were going to be a member of his organization. That's not book. There's nothing wrong with if that's what a person chooses to do, to say, well, if he immersed me, I'm going to be a part of that organization. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not mandatory. It's not obligatory, if you would. Luke chapter 24, verse 36. And as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them and said unto them, Shalom unto you. And they were terrified and affrighted and supposed they seen a ruach. And he said unto them, why are you troubled? Why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold, my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me. See, for a ruach hath not flesh and bones, as you see me have. Now let's take another look at something else in Zechariah 13. What are we trying to establish? Because these tables of stone, Yahushua is the table of stone. Who can tell me why he is the table of stone based off of something that we've been looking at over the last few weeks? Well, I get this Zechariah 13. Who can tell me how we can look at something in this script and ascertain that Yahushua would be the table of stone based off what we've been looking at over the past 3 to 6 weeks, really probably about a month and a half. I'm going to Zechariah 13 and 1, by the way, and I'll wait on that answer. I'll wait on a reply. Oh, did you listen to what I sent you? You ain't listen to it. Boo. Now you want to ignore me. That's that nigga. Oh, focus on what? Oh, you like little Bible study. Okay. Oh, y'all don't know what we've been looking at for the last month and a half, 2 months? That you would be able to ascertain that? Yes. Not the cornerstone necessarily, but definitely a tried stone. Definitely that. Definitely that. That's how we can be able to stick this in the words to look at the engraving. To look at the engraving that we're seeing in Exodus 34. Come on to Zechariah 13:1. Let it run. And that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanliness. It shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, I will cut off the names of idols out of the land. They shall be no more remembered. I will cause the prophets and the unclean ruach to pass out of the land. And it shall come to pass when they shall yet prophesy, then his father and mother that begat him shall say unto him, you shall not live, for you speak lies in the name of Yahuwah. And his father and his mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesied. It shall come to pass in that day, the prophet shall be ashamed every one of his vision when he have prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. But he shall say, I, no prophet, I, a husbandman, for man have taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And he shall say unto him, what are these wounds in your hands? Then he shall answer, with which I was wounded, the house of my friends. So now that goes back to what we go to talking about, that free will offering, which is a friendship offering, an offering of alliance. You understand? But now he said, this is why I've been wounded at in the house of my friends. You've seen that his hands were engraven. He is showing them the engraving or the tables of the stone, or making a covenant like unto the first. Now, what could you look at to see how we know this is making a covenant like unto the first? Because he said, this is the new covenant that I will make with you in my blood, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. I want you to return back to Exodus 34. So remember, he said, you got to take 2 tables of stone and you got to do them like the first. We're in Exodus 34:1. I shall continue. Yahuwah said to Moses, you 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon tables the words which were in the first tables, which you broke. See, now we have to go back and you have to look at when he broke them. Oh, no. Friends is real. That's what the word friends means. I'll give it to you right now. Well, this one here, it don't have Rhea. Excuse me. It has in the house. This is what it says. He was Nakah, Bat, Ahab. So go ahead, somebody on here, just go ahead and share. I want you to hear it out loud. What does it mean? What does Ahab mean? Now, yes, friends is a definition, but in general, what does Ahab mean? Because it can mean friend, but what does Ahab mean? You have Nakah, which is the wound, the smite or the kill, Bat, which you know is house, and Ahab. Indeed. I mean, shoot, if y'all gonna type, y'all can type on YouTube. Like I say, this here is for Audible. Because I don't be seeing that junk, and I have to hit the screen and move around. But it means love. So this is the house of his friends, or the house of love, if you would. He was wounded in the house of love. So you could say, well, how could he be wounded in the house of love? Because he loved his people, and he loved them even unto the end. See, come on here and pause. Come over and look at here at John 13. and 1. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto Abba, having loved his own which were in the world, and he loved them unto the end, because he already knew those which were. He gave his only begotten son. So he was willing to be wounded in the house of love, which was the house of his friends. You know what I'm talking about? See, they were his friends, irregardless of the fact that they were not loyal to him. You know, loyalty is to be dedicated to another. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people look at loyalty as, trust in the individual, and it's really to be dedicated. You know what I'm talking about? And then you have to ask yourself, if you're going to be dedicated to a person, what are you dedicated to them in what regard? You know what I'm saying? See, loyalty is a word like friend that is thrown about very, very loosely. You know what I'm talking about? See, most people say, I want you to be loyal to me, but that's to be dedicated to another. How dedicated are you going to be to another person? How dedicated are you going to be to Yahuwah? See, because if somebody is of Yahuwah and you say you dedicated to Yahuwah, then you should be dedicated to them. We'll get the English definition of loyalty if you would. I don't even believe the word loyalty is even in the book. Now, of course, this one here, loyal is giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or an institution. You know what I'm talking about? Now, when you look at loyalty, the quality of being loyal, and again, a strong feeling of support or allegiance. So again, it's not about the support part, because that's the part that people are always going to look at, but it's your faithfulness to commitments and obligations. So again, it's about your ability or an allegiance. See, if you're going to have loyalty, then that means you have an allegiance. What are you aligned with? How do you have this agreement? And remember, when we're talking about a voluntary offering, a free will offering, it's a friendship offering or an alliance, because that's all an allegiance is an alliance. You know what I'm saying? Most people are not dedicated allies, because if you're going to be a dedicated ally, that means you align to all the principles of whom you are loyal to. See, that's a lot of things when people say, I'm loyal. And if you are loyal to an individual, how are you loyal? What are the core principles of where you're allied at? Loyalty ain't just about being no friend. It has to be a common core group of principles and values of which you have an allegiance to. That's what you see with Jonathan and David when they made a covenant with one another. You know what I'm talking about? They allied themselves based on core principles. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be loyal to somebody if y'all are not loyal to core principles that you both are allied to. That's impossible. At that point, you really just want somebody that you just saying, son, this forth is we friends and you should be loyal to me. Why am I being loyal to you for? Just because I know you? There has to be some common ground. This is part of the reason why the text say, can two walk together except they be agreed? See, you can't walk with somebody who is sinner. How you going to be loyal to a sinner and loyal to Yahuwah in the same breath? Those two things don't even make common sense. Nevertheless, let's return to Exodus 32. We need to look at and see why Moses broke these two tables of stone. Because if we see that he's making two new tables of stone, then we would have to ascertain that the instructions that are given in Exodus 34 are before Exodus 34, because he's making a second table of stone. So that means we have to go look back at when he broke the first. Exodus 32:1 says, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods which will go before us. This Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Mizraim, we walk not what has become of him. Some of you heard it. What day that was? Monday? That was Monday. I think it was Monday. Some of y'all heard this verse 1, so I'm going to stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Where you going to find this at in the gospel? Where you going to find verse 1 at in the gospel? Who can tell me? Who knows? Who remembers? Who recalls? Dang. Docky McStuffin, I got a job for you. I need you to open up that refrigerator, right? I need you to open up the refrigerator. I need you to open up the refrigerator, look on the top shelf, and bring me a beverage. Shalom, man. You're going to need a stool, a step stool. They made the pomegranate. Do you know what a pomegranate is? This is a palm and this is granite. Pomegranate. You didn't get it. Go ahead. It's a fruit. Can't you read? Did you read it? Hey, that's good enough. Y'all don't recall what it's at in the gospel? I don't have time to dilly-dally, to be quite honest. Come over here to Luke chapter 12. Oh, would you like to give salutations? Yeah, you would. Go on back to business. Luke 12:42. I make it 41. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speak you this parable unto us, or even unto all? Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom the Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give portion of meat in due season? Baruch is that servant, whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. And if the servant say in his heart, my Lord delay his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and the maids to eat, drink, and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he look not for, and at an hour when he is not aware, and he will cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. Just for time's sake. You see where it said that they said that with Moses, correct? That he delayed his coming. Now, of course, we can read where the Levites got their swords and cut up 3,000 people and thrust them through, and they pointed their portions with the unbelievers. You can see that. And you know, it said the people ate, drank, and rose up to play. This is why he's saying this, because it's rooted in the law. Don't mess around and be like your forefathers did and be like, Moses taking too long. Because you're going to get caught just like they got caught. You're going to get caught just like they got caught. Don't do it to yourself. If something else came to mind, Luke 8, is it Luke 18? It's Luke 18. From Luke 18, 2 Peter chapter 3 and 1. Boo, boo. Luke 18 and 1. He spake a parable unto them that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying there was in a city a judge which feared not Elohim, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of my adversary. He would not for a while. But afterwards he said within himself, though I fear not Elohim, nor regard man, yet because of this widow trouble me, I will avenge her, unless by her continual coming she weary me. The Lord said, hear what the unjust judge say. And shall not Elohim avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the son of Adam comes, shall he find faith on the earth? See, I only read that for the last verse. Will he find faith on the earth when he comes? Because you felt like he delayed. See, Moses didn't find that when the people came back, when he came back to the people. He didn't find it. And you've seen what happened. A multitude of things. Moses was willing to offer his own life up so the people wouldn't be blotted out the book. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to what's going on. See, again, like I said Monday, and I've told you many times before, this isn't a, ooh, look what we can find Mashiach at. This is teaching you to have patience in your God and to wait on him. This is teaching you that this man will fulfill his promises and he will not leave you empty-handed. As he said, he that believe on him shall not be ashamed. Those 3,000 Levites, those Levites who stood with Moses, they were not ashamed. But then people who ate, drank, and rose up to play, they ended up being ashamed. You understand? You got to pay attention to the nuance. Don't get caught up. I never looked at it that way. It ain't about if you looked at it that way to point it out. Do you understand what you read? Do you grasp what is actually being communicated? You know what I'm talking about? Now, I've told you that for years, but see, now we can't be on that point, man. It don't matter if other people see it or get it or not. That ain't nothing to do with us, because we don't get nobody eyes, and we don't get nobody ears, and we don't give nobody no heart to understand. That's all Yahuwah is doing, and he does and moves as he pleases. If you don't get it, you ain't supposed to get it, and who am I to argue with Yahuwah about it? Second Peter chapter 3, verse 1. See, a lot of brews feel like they gonna make somebody believe something. I ain't finna make you believe nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't really none of my concern. That's outside of my pay grade. Peter 3 and 2 Peter 3 and 1. This second epistle, beloved, I write unto you, in which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that you may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the Kadash prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. Praise Yahuwah. See, I remember the first time we went over this one here at East, is because, matter of fact, the little homie Anthony, man, he was like, man, where you can see Mashiach's second coming in the law. And he wasn't coming at we with it. He was like, ain't nobody ever showed that. Is it even in there? And people were doubting. And I'm like, bro, it's right here. See, a lot of stuff that we used to go over, it was really because a lot of brothers were doubting because they had questions and people weren't answering them. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of people had questions on if he is written in the book, why did this happen? Or where is this lined up in it? These dudes wasn't showing people this here, man. A lot of dudes be wondering why a lot of dudes stop believing on Mashiach, and that's why. Because brothers had questions and niggas couldn't answer them. It's making me think about a brother who don't believe on Mashiach now. And he was like, man, why these people rose from the dead in this Matthew 27? And when the dude brought the dude to me, and he was like, man, I done asked X amount of people and nobody could answer it. I'm like, bro, that's easy money. You know what I'm talking about? Like he thought that was a difficult thing that somebody should be stumped. And no, it ain't even about all. And that's what dudes would come in. Oh, y'all just point stuff out just to do it. Like, no, sir. This should be strengthening your faith. What is you in this business for? Why do you do this? Why are you involved with this? If I just want, look at man, if I just wanted to point this man out of places of the book, then I could be able to use that for a means of monetization. But you can't monetize this. The reason why you can't monetize it, because it deals with the one aspect that people don't like to deal with, and that's trust and faith in Yahuwah. You can't monetize that. It's impossible to monetize because it doesn't tickle the people's ears. It doesn't work people's emotions. It doesn't get them riled up. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing with that. So the only thing that can be done is the only thing that needs to be done. And that's being esteemed, being brought to Elohim. And that's it. That's the only thing you can do with the true gospel, with the testimony of Yahushua. That's the only thing you can do with it. It don't get you accolades. It don't get you acclaim. It don't get you fame. It don't get you followers. It don't get you money. It don't get you nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the stuff you have to pay attention to. Because these men didn't have mass followings. When you look at the apostles in this book, when you look at Mashiach in this book, when I say mass followings in what's the word I'm looking for? In comparison to the mass population of people who were there at that time. Never forget that only 3,000 people got baptized at Pentecost. You know what I'm talking about? Only 3,000 people. You have to know that it had to be well over 100,000 people there. Do you understand how bad of a ratio that is? Do you understand all them people weren't following this man? The only people who gave him the things that I referred to that people would consider positive were those who believed on him. And those who believed on him were a minority in comparison to the people at large. They were a minority. You know what I'm saying? You cannot take the gospel and make it about yourself, not the true one, not the one that come from heaven, not the testimony of Yahushua, which is the Ruach of prophecy. You can't, there's no way in the world you can make that about you. That's why he say, he that bear witness of him that sent him, the same is true, and there's no unrighteousness in him. That's why the Lord can tell you that. There's no way that you can monetize that and benefit and profit off of it. You can't be a benefactor off of that. There's no way. It's impossible. There's no way that you could do it. There's absolutely no way that you could do it because the message that comes from it will not lead to the people wanting to exalt you and to lace your pockets with money. It's impossible. It's going to offend more people than it is going to bring in because more people are going to be contrary to it and unbelievers. So they're going to reject it. More are going to reject than accept. That's a harsh reality that most Brews do not want to accept. It's a reality by the grace of Elohim. I accepted that a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Long time ago. People don't want it. Y'all really believe that a lot of people want to be saved. They don't. They don't. A lot of people don't want to be saved, man. They just like the song, man. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. People don't want to change their ways. They don't want to yield. Like this here, right? I was telling them this the other day, and I told y'all this before. Like, in my opinion, pride is not the killer. It's unbelief. Because some people don't believe. Some people don't believe, and it's their pride that won't allow them to believe. But some people don't believe because they just can't trust. They just don't believe that he's going to reward them. They just don't believe that there's actually something at the end of the service. They have doubts. Is he going to do what he say? And this man has already told you anything that is not of faith is sin. That's a transgression. Because if it's not of faith, then that means you don't trust in Elohim, and that's a rebellion against his word in and of itself. And that's what hems people up. And I'm just telling you from my personal experience of people who came across in that word, a lot of them, it wasn't pride. They knew it was right, but they couldn't trust it. They knew when they sold this word right, but I can't trust it because I can't see it. And I'm wondering if I do it and I don't get it, am I going to feel like a fool? And they just rather, you know what? I just rather just go ahead and go for what I know. I just go ahead and fulfill my desires. What you seen with your forefathers in the wilderness, that wasn't pride. That was impatience. And impatience is rooted in a lack of trust. Impatience is rooted in a lack of confidence. The same way that procrastination is a sign of low self-esteem and a lack of confidence, it's the same thing with impatience. That's a lack of confidence. You don't believe it's going to be fulfilled, so you don't want to wait for it. They said, we don't know what's become of Moses, so make us a God so we can feast. That's where they messed up at. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts and saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as from the beginning of creation. Do you not understand that when Moses was up there on that mount, everything continued as it was before he went up there? You know what I'm saying? It all lined up. It's the same word. Everything continued just like it was. Nothing changed because he departed. Nothing changed whatsoever. But the people they didn't understand that because they didn't have confidence in Yahuwah because they could not wait. You could see in Psalms especially numerous times where it tell you to wait on who? Blessed is the man that wait on Yahuwah. And you got brews who tell you a fool to wait on God. And that's how you know they're not of God and you ought not to listen to them. No man of Elohim is going to tell you not to wait on Yahuwah if Yahuwah is whom your trust relies in. If somebody's telling you not to wait on Yahuwah, can't wait for no man to come out the sky and save you, that's a wicked individual. This is somebody who's teaching you to rebel against your God. Why would you give this person an audience? Why would you give their words some weight? Because you feel like they got some scholarship? Because you feel like they're intelligent and structured? This nigga's a blasphemer and an unbeliever. This man is earmarked and damned for hell. What you listening to him for? That's just like somebody telling you, you know what your daddy told you, and they telling you your daddy ain't going to do what he said he going to do, and you've been living with your daddy your entire life, and your daddy ain't never let you down. How you going to let somebody convince you your daddy going to let you down, and your daddy ain't never let you down? You got to be a fool to go for that, man. And that's where we at with it, man. Man, I done seen plenty of brews. They done cussed me out about it, too. I done, man, nigga, you wicked as hell. Telling the people not to wait on God. Nigga, you can't save yourself, nigga. If you can save yourself, you can stop death. Don't listen to nobody who can't stop death. Why you listen to somebody who can't stop death? Nigga gonna tell you ain't nobody coming out the sky to save you, yet you going to the grave. I ain't listening to you. What am I listening to you for? You can't even save yourself from dying. So how you gonna save yourself from something else? Man, you's a fool. You listen to a nigga talking like that, man. You supposed to have more resolution in the word than to go for some folly like that. Y'all don't even be realizing how these brews be out here overthrowing people's faith on a regular. Because they don't trust in God. Care nothing about you talking about some laws, nigga. Just because you keep some laws don't mean you trust in God, boy. That don't mean nothing to me. I ain't moved by that. Why you impressed by that? Why you impressed by the bare minimum? See, that's how a lot of people get caught up with raggedy men and women in relationships because you impressed by the bare minimum. You think that's something amazing. Boy, that's your reasonable service, boy. That's the bare minimum. You ain't did nothing. That's like a child saying, Daddy, I cleaned my room and did my homework. You were supposed to. Get no credit for me for that, boy. I brought in good grades. Well, why wouldn't you bring in good grades? That's the standard. You know what I'm talking about? We reward regular and mediocrity and make it feel like it's greatness. And that's why you have a problem amongst our people, because you think profane common conduct is greatness. It's not. You should not be celebrated. I wish I would take a child to a 5th grade graduation. I'm not celebrating commonality. Shalom, Brother Reynolds. I'm not celebrating that. You graduated from pre-K. I'm not celebrating that. You know what I'm talking about? Why would I celebrate commonality? That means this is going to impart to this child. What I just taught this child, that normal, regular conduct should be celebrated. Boy, that's feminine. Men don't do that. Who you think's a group of men came up with that? Son, you finished the 6th grade. You get to go to middle school. He graduated to go to high. He didn't graduate to nothing. He went to the next grade. That's all he's done. He hasn't done anything of note or significance. I'm not celebrating that. I'm not participating in that. I don't want my son to believe that regular conduct is something, a work of greatness. It is not. Greatness sets you apart. You understand? What you think Moses was set apart for? What you think set Abraham apart for? Why you think the book say he shall be called great and the son of the highest? Greatness leaves an indelible mark. You know what I'm talking about? Greatness is something that carves out while other people see it and emulate it, seek to replicate it and to add on to it. That's why he say greater works than these you shall do. Greatness is not doing, you're not great because you keep the Sabbath, my G. You're not great because you don't eat pork chops. That don't make you great, man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not clapping for you. You ain't supposed to eat it. That's the Father's rules, boy. What's wrong with you? Why you impressed by that? That's how y'all get duped. Because you impressed by regular stuff. So you know when the beast come through with the fantastical whoop whoop, the whoop whop and the whoop wham, people gonna get God. Because if you persuaded by the minimalist of activities, then you know a good, strong, false miracle is going to get you going. You understand me? Come on, man. Man, that's just real conversation, my G. You know what I'm saying? Man, look here, man. I ain't on none of that, man. Come on back to Exodus 34. I ain't rocking with none of that. You know what I'm talking about? Don't let these people out of you, man. These people make fools out you, man. I ain't on none of that. One thing about it, I done told you before, boy. I don't perform fellatio and I don't clean booty holes, man. I ain't trying to be down with nobody. See something, man? I heard 21 Savage say this the other day. I felt them on this one here. Some people go to shoot to create relationships with people just to be able to get something versus I rock with you if you rock with me. You know what I'm saying? If you fool with me, then I fool with you. And I'm going to ride all the way out with you because you fool with me. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't trying to build a relationship with somebody just so I can get a benefit from you. You know what I'm talking about? Or so I can say I'm cool with you or down with you. Man, I always been my own man. Man, I rock with those who rock with me. You rock with me, I rock with you, and we can ride out, man. You know what I'm saying? See, I rock with Yahuwah because he rocked with me because when I was a damn fool, he was riding even when I didn't know he was there. You understand me? So I'm a ride with him. I can't turn my back on that man. But see, it goes back to the point what I was talking about before with loyalty, an allegiance. Well, how do I have an allegiance with this man? I have an allegiance because of a commonality of ideals and core values that we share. I share his ideals and values. See, he don't share my ideals and values. I share his. That's how I can make an allegiance with him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been looking at the clips of that jump, man. You know what I'm talking about? But I felt him on that, though. You rock with those who rock with you, man. You know what I'm saying? And because then when you don't come through for people who you rock with, it make you feel bad because you know they rock with you. You know, hey, man, I got to tighten up because it's my man's. Because he fooled with me. See, that's when you have a genuine relationship, man. I ain't trying to build no relationship with somebody based off what I can get from them or to be down with them. I don't care if I ain't down with Now Hebrew in America. You know what I'm talking about? As long as I'm down with Yahuwah, I could care less. Because guess what? If you down with Yahuwah, then we're going to be down by law because we have a common ally, which means we should have a common allegiance, which means we should have common loyalty one to another. I ain't got to know you if you really roll with Yahuwah. I ain't got to know you. I ain't had to never see you in life. I ain't got to know your name, but the allegiance should be the same. If it's 100 on both parties. And a lot of these people out here, man, it's not 100 on both parties, man. You know what I'm talking about? It may be 100 on one party. It could be 100 on the other party. And in some instances, unfortunately, it ain't 100 on either side. You know what I'm talking about? And we got to keep it 100 with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't let these people make no fool out you, man. That's all I'm trying to tell you, man. Don't let these people make no fool out you because they're going to try to do it. Don't fall for it. Exodus 34, right? So, right, he said that the words that you were in the first tables, which you break. Now, we were talking about Exodus 32, right? See, now we got to go to Exodus 20. Like I said, hold on. Matter of fact, let me drop down so you can see what my man was talking about. And this ain't no shot. This my homeboy who's something to say. I got love for him. I ain't ever sat back and gave this no mind. You know what I'm talking about? So when he hollered at me about it, I'm like, shoot, bro, I said, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gave that no thought. But you know, by the grace of Elohim, my mind moved different. You know what I'm talking about? And don't regret it. I'm gonna run it till 9. You already know, 9 o'clock to cut off on Wednesday. I'm gonna run it till 9, so don't even worry about that. But of course, Monday when we were discussing it and looking at it and rolling out, we're gonna do it how we do it. You know what I'm talking about? And we're gonna get some understanding. So the first thing we need to do, let's come over here to Exodus 34, drop down a little bit, and we'll return back. Because he was looking at a lot of these things in here that he believed were the 10 and not necessarily Exodus 20. Matter of fact, let me do this here to 28, because that's going to give us the context. Come over here to verse 27. Exodus 34 and 27. That's going to give us the context of the conversation. He said, and Yahuwah said unto Moses, write you these words, for after the tenor of these words, I have made a covenant with you and Yasharal. So let's look at this Hebrew word for tenor. That's the first thing we need to do. I hope y'all know what tenor means in English, but let's see what it means in the language of which it was written. When you have tenor here, you have pay, which is simply the mouth of Elohim. So when he says this here, for after the mouth of these words, so these are the words that come out the mouth of Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? There's going to be no dispute with that. So then we have to pause, because where did that first happen? Again, if you don't know, and y'all willing, if we had time to do it this evening, we will. Exodus 34 is a foreshadowing of the making of the new covenant. This is a foreshadowing of Jeremiah 31. This is what this is. That I'm not going to make a covenant like I made with your forefathers in the wilderness, which covenant they broke. And we're going to look and see, how did they break it? They broke it because they committed idolatry. And we have to see, well, where does that at? Because that's the only way you can break a covenant. And Yahuwah willing, if we had time tonight, if we don't do it tonight, y'all willing, we'll do it on the Shabbat. We're going to look at every time they talk about the tables of stone and what was written on those tables of stone. You understand? See, when you came up out of Egypt, he didn't enter into no covenant with you. See, if you remember Ezekiel 16, he say, I seen you, I washed you, then I entered into a covenant with you and made you mine. That's why when I tell y'all, man, Hebrew be telling you, hey, man, you ain't got to do this or do that to be married. Man, you can't marry no woman putting your penis in her, boy. That ain't, what's wrong? That ain't no covenant, man. That's disrespectful and abomination before God. Boy, what's wrong with you? No, like I told you before, you want to get a marriage license, that's your business. You don't want to get one, that's your business. I'm not here to argue that. You at least got to have a ketubah, bro. You got to have something in writing, man. That's not the way of Elohim, man. Elohim had a covenant written down for his wife. How you ain't going to have one? But you say you of him. Boy, you a liar and a deceiver, and you ought to burn in hell for telling lies on this man's name. You know what I'm talking about? And if you a woman and you let somebody trick you like that, you ought to go walk in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and slap yourself for being stupid. You know what I'm talking about? Yo, Elohim ain't let that happen. He entered into a covenant and wrote it down for his wife. How you gonna let some old dusty, rusty nigga convince you that all he got to do is offer you some penis? Before you was in the word, and bragging nigga was offering you some penis and you knew he wasn't your husband. Why you gonna fall for that? But the same man will give you a bill of divorce, man, and a piece of paper and send you on your way. But he wouldn't want to write no piece of paper down for you to be wife. Don't you fall for that. You got to be smarter than that. You know what I'm talking about? You got to be smarter than that. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Look here, man. You ain't got to have no daughters to know that. Why would you let somebody want to defile somebody in the name of Yahuwah? Because that's what these boys be out here doing. And then these boys be shocked that these women don't want to deal with the word. Now, whether this woman want to deal with the word or not on a personal level, that's a whole nother deal. But just sit back and use yourself objectively, wisely. You understand? If I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say, hey, man, I'm doing this, and then it don't line up with the word, and then you find out that don't line up with the word, most people don't have a problem with the person who did it. They're going to have a problem with the word. They're going to blame the word for his actions. Those actions ain't got nothing to do with Yahuwah. That had to do with that person. But they're going to blame Yahuwah. That's why you got to be circumspect and walk wise in front of people, man. You know what I'm talking about? Don't let nobody get you like that, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't on that over here, man. Like I say, man, I ain't saying you got to run and go get no marriage license, man. But you can't sit here and say that you got a wife and ain't no way to prove that's your wife. She your wife because you gave her pipe? Come on, bro. You really believe that's righteous? You think that's justified before you for you doing that? Well, that's evil as hell, man. And I don't care who don't agree with it and who don't like it. Boy, I stand on that. Been standing on that for years. a decade plus. Been standing on that. And we can go head up with and nigga about it. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. Cause boy, I'm standing on this here, boy. I don't care what none of these whole niggas got to say, man. But we standing on that, bro. You not finna convince me that's just and righteous, bro. You can't convince me of that. Cause I can't read that nowhere. I seen Yahuwah say, I entered into a covenant with you and you became mine. This man just talking about a covenant right now. He said, these are the words of the covenant. It's the words of the agreement. This is the word of the allegiance. You understand? You're supposed to be loyal to the alliance of the core values that we both agreed upon. Man, these niggas evil, boy. Don't you fall for that junk out here, man. You know what I'm talking about? Don't you let these people convince you of that folly. 34:27. One more time. Yahuwah said unto Moses, write you these words, for after the tenor of these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Yasharal. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water, and he wrote upon the table the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. Well, let's look at words of the covenant, and let's look at 10 commandments. When we look at words, of course, you know that is the bar. What is covenant? You know that is berith. That is a covenant. That is an alliance. That is a pledge. That is a treaty, an agreement, man to man, an alliance of marriage, an alliance of friendship. That's why Paul wrote later talking about people covenant breakers, man. They breaking the alliance. See, that's what it means to be disloyal. You break the alliance. Uh-oh. Why you think Yahuwah said in Malachi, don't deal treacherously with the wife of your youth? Don't break your alliance, boy, because he didn't break his. Come on, man. And of course, 10 is Esar, Debar, and commandments is in Debar, which you know is word, business, acts, or matter. It's the 10 matters, the 10 words. You know what I'm talking about? So we need to come back over here, right? We need to go look at Exodus 20. We're going to take a look at them 40 days and 40 nights and not eating bread and drinking water with some understanding on that. I know we put that out there Tuesday. If the Lord allow, that's what we're going to do. Exodus 20 and 1, man. You know what I'm talking about? So it's got to be something like this here, right? How you can't sit back and say a woman broke your alliance and your alliance was you gave her penis. How you got an alliance with your penis, boy? But they don't want to hear stuff like that. See, when you go to talking like that, they go to being like, oh, you simping. Whole nigga, you nigga don't even know. Most of these whole niggas be simping and thinking they around here macking and slacking. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, they ain't no simping to say, nigga, you wicked as hell for that old Bold Rickle bubblegum game you running. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, we don't put no woman on no pedestal over here. Nigga, we put Yahuwah on a pedestal. But we ain't with that rallies neither though, my G. You not finna come around here with that ragged in the game around here trying to get your little meat wet. You know what I'm talking about? Nah, you ain't finna do none of that there, man. You ain't finna defile no women over here on that type of time, my G. But you gonna need to write something down, my nigga, to be able to say that I have an alliance. That's something that you're gonna remain loyally dedicated to. That you're gonna be held accountable to, not just accountable by man, but accountable to Yahuwah, because this is the covenant that you entered into. And if you break that covenant, that means you a liar. You understand me? That's how Yahuwah look at a covenant. When you enter in a covenant, you say whatever is in this covenant, that's what I'm going to do, which we going to read in Exodus 24, Yahuwah willing in a minute. That's why these boys don't want no covenant with nobody, because these niggas liars and frauds, fakes and phonies, and think nobody don't know. Nigga, we see through you niggas, man. You understand me? See, the devil is a liar. That's why he don't like no covenants. He don't want no agreements. Because every man know what you agree to, you got to stand to. You got to keep your word. Just like Elohim, he ain't a man that he should lie. He going to keep his word. See, most of these boys, they know they ain't going to keep their word. That's why they don't want their word to be held to account to them. You better pay attention. How we don't know the principle, how we proclaim the principles of godliness and then turn our face to them when you see these boys out here capping, man. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't supposed to be falling for this here. Most of y'all too old to be falling for this here. Some of y'all used to run the street. How y'all falling for this raggedy? I'm talking about level 1 pimp game these niggas running. Nigga, them niggas in the church be running raggedy pimp. I don't know how anybody be falling for this raggedy pimp game these whole niggas be out here running, man. You know what I'm talking about? These boys ain't even got exemplary level game. This junk ain't even like this here. Man, ain't no fly speech with it. Niggas getting caught up in cult and personality and want to be down. Well, you want to be down with Yahuwah. How can you believe that receive honor one from another, not the honor that come from Elohim only? How that happen? Why you want to be down so bad you turn your eyes to pure foolishness and folly that you know if you wasn't dealing with the word, you wouldn't fall for that. But you get in the word and fall for anything. Come on, man. Exodus 20:1. Man, let Yahuwah be a thing. And Elohim spake all these words, I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness that in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth of them that hate me. So you got to understand something, right? When you look at chapter 19 and all this here, 18, 17, 16, and 15, they had just came out of Egypt. Yahuwah had not given them any instruction. He had not given them any guidance. And he had not made a covenant with them yet. You understand? Let's keep on rolling. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahuwah your Elohim in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Brothers and sisters, who can tell me according to the text, what does it mean to take the name of Yahuwah in vain? Just so you can know, vain in Hebrew in this particular passage is sav, shav. Indeed, emptiness, vanity, falsehood, nothingness, worthlessness of conduct. That's right, to make it worthless. To make it worthless. But out of the text, who can show me where you're going to point to? Now, when it says that he will not be guiltless, that is nakah, he won't be innocent, he won't be clean, he won't be pure. Who can tell me out of the text? We're going to read that taking Yahuwah's name in vain is making it worthless. How does one make it worthless? Who can tell me? Who can remember? Let the Lord be a stick. Boopy boop. Is that comfortable for you, or is that for her? That was a serious query, by the way. Yes, I've noticed that she's kept her consistency from her time in utero, that she likes to be in a certain position, and if you move her, she is displeased. At least you're a consistent baby. Nobody remembers where that's at? Going once, going twice? Go ahead.
Is that Genesis where when it said that the people, they didn't say it took his name in vain, but they knew his name, and I can't remember exactly what it said.
No. Proverbs 30. I thought y'all would remember this one here because it's pretty plain. But we ain't looked at it in a while, so maybe you don't. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. I pick it up in verse 1 on general principle. Proverbs 30:1. Oh, yeah, we can't use 2 Timothy 2:19 because we need to establish beforehand. But I'll look at 2 Timothy 2:19 on general principle, though. Proverbs 30:1. The words of Agur, the son of Jakeh, the prophecy, the man spake of Ethiel, even unto Ethiel and Ukal. Surely I, more brutish than man, and have not the understanding of a man. I neither learn wisdom nor have the knowledge of the Kadash. Who have ascended up into Shamahim or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? So we know Yahusha ascended up in Shamahim and he descended. We know this. How we know he descended? We got Isaiah 14. We got Lamentations chapter 2. You know what I'm talking about? We got Psalm 68. Go for days, nevertheless. What is that? Gathering the wind in his fist. That's him gathering the Ruach HaKodesh in his hands. And bound the waters in his garment. Who have established all the ends of the earth. What? His name. What? His son's name, if you can tell. Every word of Elohim is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. And you, and they said, add not you unto his words, lest he reprove you, and ye be found a liar. 2 have I required of you. Deny me not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Neither give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Lest I be fool and deny and say, who is Yahuwah? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my Elohim in vain. Now, let me look at something. What is that? Let's look at that, because in vain ain't there. So let's see what we got there. So when we look at here, take the name of Elohim, you have, what do we have around here is you have tafaz, which is to catch, to handle, to seize, to wield, to arrest, to catch. So when we turn around and we look at it in the context of how it was written, now you have taken the name of Elohim, which means you have stolen the words of God. And how have you stolen to him? Because you done added something in there to it that ain't supposed to be there, and that's sin. Now, of course, if you look at them add in vain, they just add in that context. But again, to make that man name worthless is to proclaim the name of Yahuwah and to live contrary unto what the word said. You make the man name worthless. And that man say you will not be clean, innocent, or pure if you do such a thing. Let's go to 2 Timothy 2:19. See, they don't want to hear that, man. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's a little something a little different. You know what I mean? Because, boy, we ain't on that, bro. Second Timothy 2:19. Nevertheless, the foundation of Elohim stands sure, having this seal, the Lord know them that are his, and let everyone that name the name of Mashiach depart from iniquity. You show better. Because then you're going to be taking this man's name, you're going to be making it worthless. Is Mashiach the minister of sin? Elohim forbid. Let's return to Exodus 20. We in verse 8. Remember the Shabbat to keep it Kadash. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. The 7 days of the Shabbat of Yahuwah Elohim. You shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For 6 days Yahuwah made Shamahim and the rats, the sea and all in them, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahuwah baruched the Shabbat and hallowed it. Honor your Abba and your Emma, that your days may be long upon the land, which Yahuwah your Elohim give you. You shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, you shall not cover your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, his ass, or anything that is your neighbor. See, one of the key point, right, to what we know that the 10 come before Exodus 34 is because he gave them instruction not to worship another God. Because where there is no law, there is no transgression. He could not have punished them in Exodus 32 for bowing down to a golden calf if he had not already given them that instruction, which is why they're making 2 tables of stone again in Exodus 34, because they have broken the covenant that were written on these tables of stone right here. Let's look at something else in verse 18. And the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings. Well, we don't want to read all that. Verse 24. And an altar of earth shall you make unto me, and you shall sacrifice thereon your burnt offerings, your peace offerings, your sheep, your oxen, and all places where I record my name will I come unto you and bless you. And if you make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone, for if you lift up a tool upon it, you have polluted it. Neither shall you go up by steps unto my altar that your nakedness be not discovered thereon. Does anybody remember what verse 25 and 26 mean? It's been a long time since we discussed it. Okay, that's easy. Anybody remember? If you don't, it's okay. Because I'm finna bring it to your mind right now, I'll tell you that. It's been about a good 6-7 years. I'll give you a moment to think on it. Anybody remember what verses 25 and 26 is referring to? McStuffin. Why are you sucking your thumb? I thought you were done. Guess not. You the one says you want to keep polish on you. This okay. You don't need that stuff on your fingernails anyway. You're just a baby. Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Well, let's go. Let's go ahead, take a look at it. Run it on down. Run it on down. First things first, if you shall make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone. For if you lift up a tool upon it, you have polluted it. So now we know altar of stone. Altar, for those who need to know, is mizbach, which of course is your altar. Mim, zayin, ba, and kat. So with that one there, we see the sun has been cut and separated by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now he says you won't build it of hewn stone. Well, what is hewn? Hewn is gazit, which is a cutting or a hewing. You will not cut this stone. You will not cut this stone. You know stone is a bin. No need for us to look like that. Well, it's got cut stone, so it doesn't even matter. He say you won't cut it. He say for your tool, which is kareb, if you lift on upon it, we'll pollute it. That's a sword or a knife or tools for cutting. What is polluting? Of course, I hit the wrong thing. Hit the wrong thing. What is polluted? That is halak. That is to profane, to defile, to pollute, or to desecrate, or kalal, excuse me, kat, lamad, and lamad. Indeed it is, sir. So when you look at this one here, right, he say if you make an altar, if you will make me an altar of stone, you can't build it of hewn stone. So they didn't build this altar, which was Mashiach. He was not cut. He was not engraved. Because he said, if you lift a tool upon it, you will have polluted it. Now, of course, when they took it and they made him an altar of stone because he is that chief stone, that tried stone, that cornerstone, they did pollute him. They did defile him. How did they defile him? Because he had to become sin. And because he had to become sin, that means he had to be defiled. And of course, that led forth to death. And that is what happened. Now, when you look at the next part, neither shall you go up on steps unto my altar, that your nakedness be not discovered. Well, when we look at neither shall you go up by steps, Allah is the word for steps. That's to go up, to ascend, or to climb, to be brought up, to be bring up, to draw up, to stir up, to ascend, to offer, to be offered, to lift oneself. You cannot offer yourself. If you choose to neither will you offer by steps. Well, what is steps? Malah. And that's where you get to the dimming. What comes up, steps, stairs, or thoughts, you cannot offer your thoughts on this man's altar. Do y'all understand that? You cannot offer your thoughts on this man's altar. See, come over here to 2 Peter, well, 1 Peter chapter 2. See, it's the same way that the law tell you that you can't offer anything that has a blemish or spot. It's an abomination before Elohim. You can't come up to the altar of Yahuwah and make a sacrifice and bring forth your own thoughts. What is your thoughts? Your own plots, plans, and devices. Not your actual thoughts. You can't bring your own plots, plans, and devices. You can't bring your own works. You can only bring his. That's all you can bring. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 6. Make it 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. He said, you also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, a Kadash priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMashiach. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious. He that believe on him shall not be confounded. Unto you there which believe, precious. To them which be disobedient, the stones which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. A stone of stumbling, a rock of offense, which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto they were also appointed. But you, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a Kadash nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in times past not a people, but now the people of Elohim, which had not obtained mercy, but now have attained mercy. But this is the main key thing. You can't offer your own works on this man altar. Because guess what? He said, if you do it, then your nakedness will be discovered. Because he said the opposite. Don't do it, that your nakedness is not discovered. What is discovered? That is galad. That is to remove. How would your nakedness be discovered? Because you wouldn't have the Ruach HaKadosh, and therefore your sins would be shown. What he told you in Revelation 15, make sure you have your garment that your nakedness don't appear. Ain't that what he told you? That's what he told you. But see, we don't listen. See, we don't listen. See, we are a hard-headed group of people. And what does that go to? It's the same thing that happened to Cain. Cain came up to that man's altar and brought his own ways. And when he did it, his nakedness was exposed. Nakedness is erva, which is nakedness, nudity, shame, improper behavior. That's what happened in Exodus 32. Let's look at that in Exodus 32. That's exactly what Moses told them people in Exodus 32. Told Aaron more specifically, you've caused their nakedness to appear before their enemies. See, anytime you walking in sin and dealing with sin, you cause the people to be naked before their enemies and naked before Elohim. That's what happened in the garden. They went and tried to win up with their own ways. Their nakedness appeared. They had to try to cover it up. See, that's why you need that ruach. That's why you got to be like, Esau and Jacob. You got to put on the firstborn son's garment to be able to cover up your nakedness, so you're not going to get the blessing. But see, we don't like to have that conversation. We don't like to do that. That sounds too much like right. Exodus 32, verse 20. Like I say, we'll take our time and go through each chapter, man. We done did it before, just not focusing on the 10. But we're going to focus on what's being discussed and make sure we have an understanding, because we still ain't even touched some of the stuff we talked about Monday, which was we went into Exodus 17 and Exodus 24. You know what I'm saying? But shoot, we was already in Exodus 21 anyway. You know what I'm talking about? And it give you a good chance to go back and look at stuff in the law that you should know. You know what I'm saying? So nobody can't come and deceive you and tell you anything anyway. Because the key component is you always need to know what that word say. A lot of people don't know what that word say, man. And a lot of people don't have understanding on top of that. Exodus 32 and 20. Matter of fact, let me back that up some. Let me back it up. Let me go on here and back that all the way up. Let's just go ahead and just go back some and let Yahuwah talk his talk. Let's look at verse 5 in Exodus 32. And Aaron saw, he built an altar before it. Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow a feast to Yahuwah. So not only have they went too far, they done declared this doggone idol that they done made and proclaimed that to be a feast in Yahuwah, doing something in a false deity's name, but putting Yahuwah's name on it. But let me not even say a false deity. Doing something out of their own heart and then saying Yahuwah got something to do with it. And that's what we do now to this day. We do our own stuff and then say it's Yahuwah. And they rose up, this is verse 6, they rose up early on the morrow, offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to play. So not only did they do that, they offered friendship and alliance offerings to a golden calf. And guess what? That ain't had nothing to do with no nations influencing you. There wasn't no white people around. It wasn't nobody around. That was your own heart. You can't put that on nobody. That was your own heart. Now, of course, I want to bring back to your mind, what is a burnt offering? That's Olah. That's a whole burnt offering, again, in ascent, a stairway to steps. You're going to offer a burnt offering, a whole burnt offering at that? You're going to offer a friendship alliance? You're going to offer a shalem? How you going to make a friendship alliance and a sacrifice of thanks to something that was made by your own hands so you can rise up and play? What is play? That is sakak, and that is to make sport of, to mock, to laugh, and to play. Just like the text tell you you would do when you would come out of captivity. In Psalms, you want to laugh. You think you Isaac? You think you are the promise? What you laughing for? Let's continue. Yahuwah said unto Moses, go, get you down, for your people which you brought out of the land of Mizraim have corrupted. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto. Said these your gods, O Yasharal, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim. See, I just want you to go sit back and look at something from chapter 20 till you get to 28. When you get 20, you get what the quote-unquote 10 commandments. And then 21 is where we were looking at the laws with the servants and that there. Then you got laws with property. Then we get to things with the Sabbath and things about conduct, about not running behind false reports. Then we come around and we get where the covenant is affirmed. So if Exodus 24 is dealing with where the covenant is affirmed, that means the covenant was given in Exodus 20. You know what I'm talking about? Now you get into 25, and now you go to dealing with the tabernacle, the ark, the table, the candlestick, everything that pertained to that, the altar, the oils. Then you get into the priest garments. Then when you get to 29, you talking about setting apart the priest. When we get into 30, we talking about offerings, incense, perfume, oil. 31, appointed a workman to do the work, instruction about the Sabbath, and then the people break the covenant. So you don't read anything about these people sinning and breaking the covenant that was given in Exodus 20 until you get to 32. So that lets us know that those 10 words that was referred on the back end of Exodus 34, that's what was in Exodus 20, because that is the covenant. That's the covenant he entered into you with. That's why Moses came down, which we finna read, and throw those 2 tables of stone down and broke them. See, 34, he redoing them. But 32, they were fresh. Let's look at it. Verse 9. Yahuwah said unto Moses, I have seen this people. Behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, that I may consume them, and I will make you a great nation. Moses besought Yahuwah his Elohim and said, Yahuwah, why do your wrath wax hot against your people, which you brought forth out of the land of Mizraim with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out to slay them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath and repent of this evil against your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal, your servants, to whom you swear by your own self, and said unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of Shamahim. All this land that I have spoken of will I give it unto your seed, and they shall inherit forever. Yahuwah repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony in his hand, the tables written on both their sides, the one side and on the other, they written. The tables, the work of Elohim, the writing of Elohim, graven upon the tables. And when Yahushua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said, Moses, a noise of war in the camp. He said, it is not the voice shout for mastery, neither the voice for being overcome, but the noise of sing do I hear. And it came to pass as soon as he came near the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing, Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they made, burnt in the fire, ground to powder, strawed it upon the water, and made the sons of Yasharal drink. Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto you, that you brought so great a sin upon them? And you know what this go to show? Just what we was looking at in Isaiah 28. It be the leaders that lead the people astray, because Aaron's supposed to check them people for that. Aaron wasn't supposed to let that slide. See, that's one thing you can see right now with a lot of these men who deal with their word, but they don't want to get checked. See, when you see a lot of dudes, oh, I ain't nobody's leader, or we all brothers, or I ain't under no man's authority. That's a group of men who want to do what they want to do. And they don't want to be in the construct of a group of men telling them that their behavior is not acceptable. You can't trust no man who want to do what he want to do and don't want to walk with other men that can hold him accountable. You understand? There's something wrong with that dude. He said, you walk with fools, you'll be a fool. Walk with wise men, you'll be wiser. How you going to be wiser walking by yourself, dummy? That don't even make no sense. You know what I'm talking about? That don't even make no sense. But that's how a lot of dudes think. And I told y'all this in the past. A lot of dudes think like this because they watch their mama behave this way. They have a disdain for masculine authority. They have a disdain for masculine leadership. They have a disdain for men. When they look in the mirror, they hate the fact that they're a man because they don't want the responsibility of manhood that is on their shoulders. They wish they could bequeath it and become just a nice little girl in the corner. They don't want the responsibilities of being a man. A lot of these men out here do not want the responsibilities of being a man. So they would rather give them away. That's why they don't want to be around men. That's why they act like little hoes and little women. Because they don't want to be men. You know what I'm saying? That's why I go back what I tell you before. A man gonna enter into a covenant with his wife. I don't care marriage license or ketubah, because he's a man of his own words. He's a man who's going to remain allied to his agreements. He's going to be a man who's going to remain loyal to what he said he's going to do. So a man who don't want that is because that's a man who doesn't want to be held accountable for his own words. He doesn't want to be he's allied to no one but himself, so he cannot be trusted. You know what I'm talking about? To an extent. To an extent. You know what I'm saying? Being born a man, you got a birthright to be a son of God, and these niggas don't want it. They don't want it, man. These niggas evil out here, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? The problem is don't nobody want to say it out loud. You know what I'm talking about? That's the problem. Don't nobody want to say it out loud. I told you before, man, we not finna be walking around here complaining about no women, my G. I don't care what a woman doing or what she talking about. That ain't got no bearing on me. If that woman ain't down with what you trying to do, what you care? That don't even make no sense. Man, ain't no woman, look here, man. These women can talk till their booty hole catch fire. At the end of the day, man, a woman's survival is contingent on the man whom she's aligned with. So if she don't feel like she need to be aligned with a man, then that's on her. Nothing to be sitting around here talking about no raggedy hoes for what? Raggedy hoes ain't even worth a nigga attention. They ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's the men who we need to be concerned with. If I got to tell a man, hey, man, if you have to be convinced as a man not to mess with raggedy hoes, something wrong with you anyway. You know what I'm talking about? But see, I told you these boys be out here simping because they be trying to convince raggedy hoes to be wives. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, you seen all these people in an uproar about Lori Harvey. Who gives a damn? Do you not know her mother is a whore? Where you think she learned it from? That's not that nigga daughter. You know what I'm talking about? That's not that nigga. Do you know how big of a simp you got to be to put your name on another nigga churn who's still alive? Them churn daddy's still alive. The nigga just got out of prison. The nigga got pardoned by Obama, man. Do you know how big of a simp you got to be to do that? These wasn't small babies. Do you know how big of a simp you got to be to marry a woman who did not want you because you was poor and she was selling drugs? This nigga wife was a kingpin, a queen pin of narcotics. A finessing whore. What would you expect her daughter to be? It's in her DNA to be a whore. Do you know how big of a whore you got to be to mess with a nigga and his son? I don't care how good she look. That's a scallywag. This is stuff. Ain't nobody shouldn't have to tell no grown man that. Nobody shouldn't even be like, come on, my G. That's a scallywag. That's a woman who does not even deserve masculine attention, because you're not only fooled with the father, you're fooled with the son. You're not worthy of a man. That is a concubine. That is a harlot. That is not a woman who is to be taken seriously on any level. You know what I'm talking about? But see, niggas get caught up because they look good, so you want to try to convince her to serve God. I ain't convincing no slut to be an unslut. You can unslut, but you ain't going to unslut with me. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to have to go unslut for another nigga, because I'm not going through that. That's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to unslut you so you can be my wife. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you don't teach no young man to do that. It take a real man to heal a heart you ain't break. Man, get that Hallmark movie junk up out of here, man. You don't tell no young man no foolishness like that, man. Tell that woman go get herself right. And if I'm still here when you get back, then maybe you might have a chance. But that's not my job, baby. I'm not doing that. Because you ain't finna suck me dry and destroy my life. Because guess what? Let me tell you something about a woman, man, that you ain't know. Well, if you mess with a woman at her lowest, shoot, it can happen for a dude too. And she elevate herself, she gonna look at you like you not worthy of her because you messed with a lesser version. Now she done elevated herself. She looking at like, I wouldn't talk to a nigga like you. That ain't your job. You done seen this too many times with women who were overweight. Nigga got with her when she was overweight, help her get into shape. Now she look good. She feeling herself. She looking at her husband like, you like fat women. You know what I'm talking about? It happens all the time. Woman get a dude, he broke, he couldn't get nothing. Now he get some money. He looking at her like, oh, you like broke niggas. Like, come on, man. Y'all, why y'all think that that's what you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? I had to tell the little homie this other day. I done told y'all this before. You know what people's biggest mistake is, man? You try to make people be something they not. Look here, right? When B. Simone had the big outrage. She wanted an entrepreneur. Niggas got mad. Why you mad at her if that's what she want? If you ain't an entrepreneur, then she ain't who you want. What you care? You know what I'm talking about? You can't make her want something that she don't want. If that ain't what she want, that ain't what she want. See, it hurts your feelings because that's not you. See, it's the same thing with that thing going around with the lady who didn't want the nuclear physicist. See, that's how you know these niggas simps and busters, because they feel like she should have been attracted to him just because of his job. Let me tell you something, man. If the woman like you, the woman like you. Mess with the woman who like you. How you gonna try to make a woman like you because of your job? You know how lame that is, man. And then these whole niggas on these videos, that's why they like the Pookies and Ray Ray. Hey, get your bump. I'm talking about just a bussy nigga. The junk disgusts me, man. If the woman like you, the woman like you. She not gonna like you based off of your job. She gonna like you based off of you. But these cornball niggas can't get no women, so they want that woman to like them based off of my accomplishments and my accolades. You should like me because I'm a nuclear physicist. She like, man, I don't like this nigga. You gonna make her like the nigga? You know what I'm saying? You don't want a woman who don't like you. It's okay if she don't like you. Focus on the woman who likes you. That's all you got to do. Why is that so hard to tell a nigga, you going to make a woman like you? Do you understand if you got to make a woman like you, you not going to get the best out of that woman? You're not going to get the best sexual experience from that woman. You're not going to get the best submission from that woman. You're not going to get the best service for that woman. You're not going to get the best support of that woman. You're not going to get the best love of that woman because that woman didn't like you. And you spend all your time convincing her to like you, which tells her you don't respect yourself, you don't value yourself, and you'll compromise what you want in order to get someone to like you. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. Like who likes you. It's okay. It's not a shot or a dig at you. But you know why you like that? Because the cornball niggas in your neighborhood told you need to holler at all the women you can holler at. And if you get rejected, and we were talking about this Saturday afternoon, that's why a lot of niggas fumble good women, because you're not used to a woman who like you. You've been spending your whole adult life trying to convince a woman to like you, that when you run across a woman who like you, you don't know what to do. Because you ain't got to do nothing because she like you. So all you got to do is be a man and do what it is that you do and lead, guide, protect, and teach. You don't know how to do that. So now you around here acting stupid, and now you done lost a woman who liked you because you used to convincing women to like you because you a simp and a suck and a buster. You know what I'm talking about? You don't know how to operate from a position of power. You don't know how to operate with no pimping. You don't know how to direct and move because you feel like you got to convince somebody to like you. And one thing about Yahuwah ain't never felt like he had to convince somebody to like him. If you can't see why you ought to follow me when you meet me, then that's on you. See, that's the difference between some people when they hear the word and they get down with it immediately because they liked them when they seen it. You know what I'm talking about? And other people, they feel like, man, you got to keep getting with the word, bro. See, you trying to convince somebody to like him. I'm not trying to convince nobody to like Yahuwah. If you can't see that Yahuwah is that dude when you hear it, then shoot, that ain't for you then, my G, and that's all good. Rock with Dagon. Rock with Ashtaroth. Rock with them. But see, nobody don't want to tell these dudes that these women won't submit. Nah, she don't like you, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? She don't like you, bro. Why they just want to tell these dudes that, man, that girl don't like you? See, nobody get messed up at, and these ladies know it, because a woman will be with a man she don't like. Hell, she'll marry a man she don't like if she believes she'll get taken care of, because she gonna secure her livelihood, her security, her safety. She gonna secure that. She ain't got, see, y'all don't even know that, because a woman will take gifts from a man she don't like. She'll go out on dates with a man she don't like. Men usually don't do that, and you get confused because you thinking she do what you do. She don't, my G. Be easy and breathe. You know what I'm talking about? What you supposed to do is stop fooling with people who don't like. It's like this here, right? You want a woman that cook? Then don't mess with a woman who don't cook. You know what I'm saying? You want a submissive woman? This woman ain't submissive? Stop messing with her. Why you trying to make her be a wife and she showing you ain't a wife, and then you marry and then complain about she ain't a wife? You a jackass. And you deserve everything you get because you compromise what you wanted. You know what I'm talking about? It's the same difference. Nigga get mad, a woman say, I want a man to take care of me. She's supposed to. So if you around here and you get with a dude you got to take care of, you a jackass. You deserve what you get because you knew that ain't what you wanted. And you trying to make him be what you want. He is who he is. He ain't going to be nothing different than what he's always been. It's not changing. I told him, man, tell my own girl that, man. What about the man? Man, if you got to put pressure on a man to marry you, he ain't no husband. Because if the man want to marry you, you ain't got to put no pressure on him. That mean that man ain't a husband. Move on. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be doing that, man. You can't be doing that. You can't be trying to make people be what you want them to be to satisfy your own lust. It's going to blow up in your face. But we reached our time. Yahuwah willing, man, we're going to pop this off on the Shabbat. I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and hallelujah for Yahushua. I appreciate y'all time. Thank Yahuwah for the word. Prayerfully, we get some more understanding because we got a lot of information, clearly. Exodus 32 and 34 got a lot of stuff in there, man. But look here, man. Don't be falling for that. I know y'all seen that stuff with that nuclear physicist and all these dudes coming down on this chick, talking about how dumb she is. If she don't like him, she don't like him, bro. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know why dudes feel like their job would make a woman be aroused. So, ooh, that nigga fine. I sure want him. Bro, she don't like you. She don't like you. Why you hurt? Why your feelings hurt because this woman don't like you, bro? Do you not know how great of a man? See, your feelings only going to be hurt because you don't understand your own worth or value, or you ain't got out here and did something to be able to know who you are and what you have to offer, to understand that somebody don't like you, they losing. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's why Yahushua said if they won't receive my testimony, he say dust your feet off on them, because he say it's going to be worse than the day of judgment for them, because he say Sodom and Gomorrah going to testify against them. Nineveh going to testify against them. That's a loss for them. I know my worth, my value, and what I bring. I know who I am. I don't care if you don't like me. I like me, nigga. I told a little homie this here before I slide up out of here, man. I done told you this before, man. Nigga tell you it'll be pride if you say you love yourself. How could you not love yourself and you say you made in the image of God? If you love yourself, that means you love God, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? And if you love God, then that means you walking in him. And if you walking in him, then you know how precious and valuable you are in his eyesight. And you would understand that if people do not understand how precious and valuable you are, then that's a loss to them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a reflection on them. Because they can't recognize what's before their face. That's on them. You ain't supposed to be walking around here trying to convince people to like you. What's wrong with you, man? But but I praise God. See, my granddaddy taught me that. My granddaddy told me that. Richard told me that when I was 5 years old. You understand me? Don't worry about if a nigga don't like you. Screw him. This is real talk, man. I'm seeing that junk now, man, sitting in the driveway, man, at the house on Martin Luther King Drive, man. He said, man, screw them. They don't like you, screw them. You know what I'm talking about? Man, that's still with me. Man, I'm almost 42 years old. So I don't care if you don't like me. And I live my whole life like that. I have not lived my life trying to convince people to like me. I don't care if you like me, nigga. I like me. And if I serve Yahuwah continually, he gonna like me. So what I care if you do? You know what I'm talking about? That makes no sense. But nevertheless, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Yahuwah willing, man. We picked this up on the Shabbat, man. We got more to move and more to do. Yahuwah willing, to that time.